Welcome to the Deep Dive. We sift through stacks of sources and research to bring you the key insights. And today, we're tackling something pretty universal. Toxic thinking patterns, that feeling, when you're just sort of stuck. Looping negativity, self-doubt, feels impossible to escape sometimes. If that sounds familiar, well, this deep dive is definitely for you. We want to look at what these patterns really are and, maybe more importantly, give you some real practical tools to break free.
That's exactly right. Our goal today really is to demystify this whole idea of toxic thinking, help you understand why our brains seem to default to these tricky patterns sometimes, and then offer concrete strategies you can actually start using like right away to rewire things for better well-being. It's not about pretending problems don't exist. It's about building the mental skills to handle them better.
Okay, let's unpack this then, because it's way more than just, think positive, right? It sounds like it's about a more fundamental shift. I like the analogy of your mind as a garden. Healthy thoughts, they're like the good plants, helping everything thrive. But these toxic thoughts, they're like invasive weeds. If you let them go, they just choke out the good stuff, take over the whole place. So if our minds are gardens, we kind of need to know what these weeds actually look like, yeah. What is toxic thinking?
Exactly, and it's much more than just having an off day or feeling a bit blue. We're talking about these persistent, often distorted thought patterns, and they consistently chip away at your mental health, your relationships, your overall quality of life. They become a kind of default mode.
Right. And there are some common culprits these patterns people fall into. What are some of the big ones?
Oh, definitely. One of the most common is probably all or nothing thinking. Your mind just sees things in black and white, extremes. It's either perfect or it's a total disaster. Someone's amazing or they're awful. There's just no gray area.
Oh, okay. Like, if this presentation isn't absolutely flawless, I'm a complete failure. Even if, 90% of it went great. We've all been there, I think. What else?
Another huge one is catastrophizing. This is where your brain just leaps instantly to the absolute worst possible outcome, often from really small triggers, like your friend doesn't text back right away.
And boom, they hate you.
Or you made one tiny mistake at work.
And you're convinced you're getting fired tomorrow.
Yeah.
That jump to the extreme.
That one's powerful. And, gotta admit, it hits a little close to home sometimes. My brain can definitely do that quick leap. What about when we think we know what someone else is thinking? Usually something bad about us.
Yeah, you're pointing to mind reading. That's the assumption. You know what's going on in someone else's head, and it's almost always negative towards you. Everyone in this meeting thinks I'm an idiot, or I know they're judging my outfit. You're projecting negativity without any actual proof.
And the flip side of that is focusing only on the bad stuff? Precisely. That's the mental filter. You zoom in exclusively on the negative details and ignore or just completely filter out any positives. You could get, say, 9 pieces of great feedback and 1 tiny criticism.
And you obsess over the criticism all day long. Makes perfect sense.
It's how it works. And then there's personalization. Taking responsibility for things that are, completely outside your control. Feeling guilty because it rained on the picnic you suggested, or blaming yourself for someone else's bad mood. It's making external events all about you, usually negatively.
Wow. Okay, so those are the weeds. But why do we have them? It feels like they just sabotage us.
Well, what's truly fascinating here is these aren't really character flaws. They're not signs you're weak or broken. They're actually deeply rooted evolutionary survival tools, just got a bit haywire in our modern world.
Survival tools. How so?
Think about our ancestors. They needed to be hypervigilant. The one who heard rustling leaves and thought, could be a predator, was more likely to survive than the one thinking, probably just the wind.
Okay. Better safe than sorry.
Exactly. So our brains develop this negativity bias. We are literally wired to pay more attention to potential threats, potential problems.
No. Our ancient brain doesn't really know the difference between a saber-toothed tiger hiding in the bushes.
Yeah.
And, a critical email from the boss.
It rings the same alarm bell.
That's a great way to put it. The alarm system is ancient, but the triggers are modern. It reacts with the same intensity, often inappropriately. And, understanding this really helps cultivate some self-compassion. These patterns aren't your fault. They served a purpose.
That makes sense. It's not me, it's my programming, kind of.
Sort of. But the good news is, recognizing that origin empowers you. You're not just inherently flawed, you're working with some outdated mental software. And software can be updated.
And it really needs updating, because this isn't just annoying background noise. Toxic thinking has real costs, right? Actual impacts. Oh, absolutely. Huge impacts. Let's start with physical health. Chronic negative thinking puts your body in a state of chronic stress. That means constantly flooding your system with cortisol, the main stress hormone.
Okay, and that's bad.
Long term, yes.
Yeah.
It leads to inflammation throughout the body. It can weaken your immune system, contribute to heart problems, digestive issues, sleep disorders. The list goes on. Your thoughts literally, physically impact your body.
Wow. Okay. So physical health is one major area. What about relationships?
Oh, they can wreak havoc on relationships. If you're always assuming the worst intentions or constantly looking for proof that someone doesn't like you or just bringing that heavy pessimistic energy.
It pushes people away.
Exactly. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Your fear of rejection or judgment can actually create the distance you are afraid of.
That makes sense. And I imagine it affects careers too.
Yeah.
Opportunities.
Absolutely kills opportunities. You don't apply for the promotion because you know you won't get it. You don't speak up in that important meeting because you assume your idea is dumb. You avoid taking calculated risks because your brain screams about everything that could go wrong.
So you stay stuck.
You stay stuck, and your decision-making gets skewed. You end up making choices based on fear, avoiding potential pain, rather than on growth or possibility. Choosing the safe path, even when the braver path might lead to something amazing.
And just the sheer energy drain of it all.
It's exhausting. It's like running a mental marathon while you're just sitting at your desk, constantly battling these negative thoughts, analyzing, worrying.
Yeah.
It just depletes your mental batteries so fast.
Here's where it gets really interesting. I remember working with someone, let's call her Sarah, incredibly smart, talented, but she was utterly convinced she was awful at her job. Every little thing, every potential mistake, she'd blow it way out of proportion. Convinced her colleagues thought she was incompetent, constantly worried about being fired.
Even though her work was good.
Objectively excellent. But she couldn't see it. The cost for her was just profound mental exhaustion. She couldn't enjoy any success. It was like living in a mental prison she built herself.
That's such a common and painful scenario. What happened with her?
Well, the amazing part is she started learning to recognize these patterns, to actually catch them and challenge them. And honestly, within a few months, the change was remarkable. Her stress levels dropped. She actually started enjoying work, and she ended up getting a promotion.
Wow.
Yeah, it was the same job, same colleagues, same external reality, but a completely different internal experience just by changing her thinking.
That perfectly illustrates the power we're talking about. It leads us right into the science of hope here, which is neuroplasticity.
Right, the idea that our brains aren't fixed. They can change.
It's a revolutionary concept, really. Your brain has this incredible ability to adapt, reorganize itself, to literally rewire its connections throughout your entire life. It's not set in stone after childhood.
So those well-worn toxic thought paths,
Yeah.
they aren't permanent highways.
Not at all. Think of it like trails in a forest. Every time you have a thought, especially a recurring one like a toxic pattern, you're walking down that trail, making it wider, clearer, easier to follow. It becomes the default route.
Okay, makes sense.
But neuroplasticity means you can blaze new trails. Every time you notice that old toxic thought starting and consciously choose a different, healthier response.
You're starting to clear a new path.
Precisely. At first, that new path is rough, maybe overgrown, harder to walk, but the more you choose it, the clearer and easier it becomes. And guess what happens to the old toxic trail?
It starts to fade away. Get overgrown from disuse?
Exactly. You're not reinforcing it, so it weakens. This isn't just a nice metaphor, it's biology.
So there's actual scientific proof for this.
Oh, yes. Solid research. Places like Harvard, Stanford, they've shown practices like mindfulness, like cognitive restructuring, which we'll talk about, even gratitude exercises. They can physically change your brain structure. We're talking measurable changes in areas related to learning, memory, emotional regulation. They can become thicker, more robust.
Wow.
And areas linked to stress and anxiety can actually become less active, sometimes in as little as 8 weeks of consistent practice.
8 weeks. That's incredible.
It really is. So no matter how long you felt stuck, how deeply ingrained these patterns feel, change is genuinely possible. But the key word there is practice.
Right. It's like learning piano or a new language. It takes effort.
Consistent effort, patience and persistence. You're literally retraining your brain.
Okay, that's hugely encouraging. So if our brains can change, let's get into the practical stuff. How do we actually do it? What are some real strategies people can use, like today?
All right, let's dive into those. 7 powerful strategies you can start using immediately.
Okay, strategy number 1.
Strategy. Hashtag this S.P technique. Think of this as your emergency brake for those runaway negative thought trains. When you catch yourself spiraling, Literally think or even say "stoppy." Then, stop what you're doing. Just pause. Take a conscious breath. A deep one. Observe what's actually happening in your mind. What's the thought? What's the feeling? And proceed with intention. Choose what you do or think next, rather than letting the old pattern run the show.
I like that. It creates a gap, a moment to choose.
Exactly. It interrupts the automatic pilot. Okay, strategy hashtag the evidence examination. When a toxic thought hits, you need to become like a detective questioning a suspect. Your brain loves confirmation bias. It wants to find evidence for what it already believes, especially if it's negative.
You have to actively look for counter evidence.
Yes. Ask yourself, what actual evidence supports this thought? Be specific. Then what actual evidence contradicts it? Also ask, what would I tell my best friend if they were thinking this? We're often kinder to others. And finally, what's the most realistic view here? Not just the absolute worst case scenario.
That's crucial. Our thoughts feel so real, like facts, but often they're just interpretations. So if you think everyone thought my question was stupid, you'd ask, okay, did anyone actually say that? Did anyone roll their eyes?
No.
Or did people actually nod or seem interested?
Precisely that kind of detailed examination. Now, for times when the toxic thoughts really ramp up anxiety, maybe even panic, strategy, #3 is the 3-3-3 grounding technique. Super simple, very effective. Just name 3 things you can see right now, 3 things you can hear, and 3 things you can physically feel, like your feet on the floor, the chair beneath you, your clothes.
So it pulls you out of the swirling thoughts and into the physical present.
Exactly. It anchors you in reality, calms the nervous system very quickly. Okay, strategy #4 is cognitive reframing. This is about consciously challenging and shifting your thoughts towards more balanced, realistic perspectives. It's not about forced fake positivity. It's about accuracy.
Can you give some examples? How does that work in practice?
Sure. So instead of "I always mess everything up," which is rarely true.
Right, the all or nothing thinking.
Yes. You could reframe it to, okay, I made a mistake on this task, but I also do many things well, and I can learn from this. See the balance.
Yeah, much more realistic.
Or instead of, this whole project is going to be a complete disaster.
Catastrophizing.
Try, this project is challenging and there might be difficulties, but I have skills to handle challenges and I'll figure things out as I go.
It acknowledges the difficulty, but adds capability.
Exactly. Or even, nobody likes me becomes, some people connect with me more easily than others, and that's perfectly normal. Challenging those absolutes always. Never everyone, nobody.
That feels much more doable than just trying to flip a switch to positive. Okay, what about when worries just keep popping up all day?
For that, strategy #5, the worry window. This is brilliant. You designate a specific time each day, say 15 minutes, as your official worry time. When a worry or a toxic thought comes up outside that window, you acknowledge it, maybe jot it down, and then you tell yourself, okay, I'll think about this properly during my worry window later.
And what happens?
Often, by the time the worry window arrives, the issue seems much less urgent or threatening, or you might even forget about it. It stops the thoughts from hijacking your whole day. It contains them.
That's clever, like scheduling your worries. Okay, what's next?
Strategy #6 is mindfulness and observation. This is more about changing your relationship to your thoughts. Practice just observing them without getting swept away. The classic analogy is sitting by a river. Your thoughts are like leaves floating past. You notice them, acknowledge them. There's that worry thought again. But you don't jump into the river and get carried downstream by them.
Creating distance.
Yes, psychological distance. It reduces their emotional punch because you see them as thoughts, not necessarily as reality.
That it takes practice, I imagine.
Yeah.
Okay, number 7.
Strategy #7 is super simple but powerful. The best friend test. Before you fully buy into a harsh, critical, toxic thought about yourself, just pause and ask, would I ever say this to my best friend if they were in my situation?
And the answer is usually?
Almost always, no way.
Right.
We'd be much kinder, more supportive, more realistic. So if you wouldn't say it to someone you care about, why are you saying it to yourself? It really highlights that inner critic.
That's a fantastic gut check. Really puts it in perspective. And you mentioned a bonus one.
Yes, a bonus strategy that actively builds those positive pathways. Gratitude rewiring. At the end of each day, take literally 2 minutes to write down 3 specific things you're grateful for that day. Not just my family, but the way my partner made me coffee this morning, or that moment of sunshine through the window, or finishing that tricky report.
Why specific?
Because specificity trains your brain to actively scan your day for positives, things you might otherwise overlook. It builds that mental muscle for noticing the good, which directly counteracts the negativity bias. Consistent practice here is like mental weightlifting for positivity.
Okay, these strategies are gold for interrupting thoughts in the moment, but how do we build that longer-term resilience? Make this stuff stick so we're not constantly fighting fires.
Great question. That's about building sustainable habits. Think about a morning mental hygiene routine. Just like you brush your teeth, spend maybe 5–10 minutes setting your mental tone. Could be brief meditation, reading something inspiring, setting a positive intention, just consciously choosing your mindset before the day grabs you.
Starting the day proactively, not reactively. I like that. And the mindset piece seems key too.
Absolutely. Cultivating a growth mindset is fundamental. Instead of seeing mistakes or challenges as proof of your inadequacy, a fixed mindset, view them as opportunities to learn, adapt, and get stronger. Ask, what can I learn here? Instead of, why am I so bad at this? That shift transforms everything.
Makes challenges less scary. What about other people?
Crucial. Build a support network. Toxic thinking loves isolation. It festers when you're alone with it. Surround yourself with supportive people who offer perspective. Talk about your struggles with trusted friends. And seriously, consider therapy if these patterns are persistent. Getting professional support is huge.
And being kinder to ourselves through the process.
Yes. Practice self-compassion. This is often the hardest, but maybe the most important. When you slip up, when you fall back into old patterns, which you will, don't beat yourself up. Acknowledge it. Be kind. Okay, that was an old pattern showing up. I'm learning. And gently redirect yourself. Treat yourself like you'd treat that struggling friend.
That takes conscious effort. What about the stuff we let into our minds?
Good point. Limit toxic inputs. Pay attention to what you consume mentally. Does doom scrolling the news trigger anxiety? Does a particular social media feed make you feel inadequate? Do certain people drain you? Be mindful and curate your mental environment. You have more control here than you think. Unfollow, mute, limit exposure. It's self-care.
And checking in with ourselves regularly.
Yes. Schedule regular mental health check-ins, like a quick monthly meeting with yourself. How have my thought patterns been? Which strategies worked well? What needs more attention? It keeps you intentional.
Prevents just drifting back.
Exactly. And related to that, celebrate small wins. Seriously. Every time you notice a toxic thought and choose differently, even if it feels small, acknowledge it. Pat yourself on the back. That is neuroplasticity happening in real time. You're doing the work.
Love that. And finally, the basics.
Never forget the physical foundation. It's almost impossible to have a healthy mind in an unhealthy, stressed body. Prioritize sleep. Get some movement, whatever works for you. Eat nourishing food. These aren't luxuries. They're prerequisites for mental resilience. Remember, the goal isn't some fantasy land where you never have a negative thought. That's unrealistic. The goal is to build the awareness and the skills to recognize the toxic patterns quickly and respond wisely instead of letting them run your life.
Okay, so what does this all mean for you listening right now on your own journey? It also means knowing when these strategies might not be quite enough on their own.
Exactly. It's important to recognize when it's time to seek professional help. If these toxic thinking patterns are really severely impacting your daily life, your work, your relationships, your ability to just function, or if they're consistently tangled up with persistent feelings of depression, overwhelming anxiety, or certainly if you're having thoughts of harming yourself, please reach out. Talk to a doctor, a therapist, a counselor.
And that's not weakness, right? It's the opposite.
Absolutely. It's a sign of strength and self-awareness to recognize you need support and to take that step. There is zero shame in it.
And therapy can be really effective for this specific stuff.
Hugely effective. Modalities like cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, are specifically designed to help you identify, challenge, and change these negative thought patterns and the behaviors linked to them. Also, acceptance and commitment therapy, ACT, which helps you learn to accept difficult thoughts and feelings without letting them control you, while committing to actions that align with your values.
So getting that outside perspective can make a huge difference.
It really can. A therapist offers an objective view, helps you spot blind spots you might miss, and tailors strategies specifically for you. And beyond traditional therapy, there are great online therapy platforms now, support groups, even mental health apps that can offer valuable tools and resources. Don't feel you have to struggle alone.
Yeah, okay. This has been so insightful. Let's try and pull this all together into a clear action plan someone can walk away with today.
Let's do it. So this week, starting now, choose just one. One of those 7 strategies we discussed: STOP, evidence exam, 333, reframing, worry window, mindfulness, best friend test. Pick the one that resonates most or seems most needed right now and just commit to practicing that one daily. Don't try to do everything at once. That leads to overwhelm.
Keep it simple. Okay, one strategy this week.
Yeah.
Then what?
Then, this month, maybe add a second strategy to your toolbox. Start building that simple morning mental hygiene routine, even if it's just 5 minutes. And also, just start observing. Notice your most frequent toxic thought patterns. Don't judge them yet. Just become aware. There's that catastrophizing again. Awareness is always step 1.
Awareness, then adding another tool. Got it.
Mm-hmm.
And looking out further.
Over the next 90 days, really focus on strengthening that physical foundation: sleep, movement, nutrition. See how much difference it makes. Continue practicing your chosen strategies. Consider reaching out for professional support if you feel stuck or need more guidance. And practice self-compassion relentlessly. This is a journey, not a quick fix. Be kind to yourself as you learn and rewire.
That's such an important reminder. Changing these patterns, especially if they're lifelong habits, it takes time. It takes patience.
It really does. You are literally rewiring your brain, carving out those new neural pathways. That's significant work. Be gentle, acknowledge the effort, celebrate the small steps forward.
And know that your thoughts, they don't have to define you or control your life.
You genuinely have more power over your internal landscape, your mental garden, than you might realize.
So maybe a final thought to leave you with. Consider how much untapped energy, creativity, and just potential you might unlock simply by starting to gently tend to the garden of your mind.
What amazing new possibilities could start to flourish if those mental weeds began to recede, even just a little?